So this space, you know, and it's an extraordinary space. It's a space unlike any I've ever really seen. It has this, on the one hand, it's this beautiful ancient church, and on the other hand, it has this kind of poetry to it because it's not perfect. It has these frescoes that are sort of half disappearing on the walls. It has this extraordinary volume with this beautiful gold dome. And I think when I saw the space, I was really kind of moved by the kind of poetry, I suppose, the space has itself. And it made me think that in order to show works in this space, you're going to kind of have to dance with the space. Like you're going to have to work. It's like a collaboration with the space. It's not like anywhere else where you put a work somewhere. This is really about the two things coming together. And it makes for a very different kind of work, I think. That's why this piece has kind of come out of that, this idea of really trying to be with the space, trying to actually twist and turn with the space and be part of that space. And so the piece itself is really a kind of drawing with that space. It's almost like taking this, everything we're seeing, and almost drawing on it and drawing with it, but drawing in 3 dimensions. So thinking about the volume, thinking about the color, thinking about the sort of decay, the beautiful kind of decay of the building, and then making a piece that both speaks to that and kind of sits apart from it. So the piece is these strong, bright lines of light that kind of float in the space, and yet at the same time they have a kind of muscularity. They're definitely, there's sort of thinginess to them. There's a solidity to them, which is really amassed there. And I suppose because the place is this kind of beautiful, kind of spiritual place, I wanted this piece that would kind of twist and float right up into the dome, so that the piece itself has a sort of unreality to it, that it's not defined in a sense by gravity. It does something completely otherward, you know, and I think that was kind of what it was about. Well, I think of it, I know it looks sort of like a lightning bolt, but I think of it actually as a whirlwind. And I think, you know, a whirlwind is this twisting motion, but it's also this thing that happens, you know, and classically within writing and within literature, we think about whirlwinds being the connection between the earth, the base earth, and the divine. I think people always used to think about that was, we're actually seeing something physically connecting the two. And I suppose I wanted to think about that a little bit here, that we have this very solid floor, this earth here, and this extraordinary dome. And I suppose the whole notion of the Baroque or of the sublime is about this business of connecting the two. And I thought somehow, I mean, you know, in whatever way I can kind of make a piece that tries to do that, at least tries to do that. And the whirlwind is the kind of mechanism for that, this vortex spinning up. And also, I suppose, you know, what's interesting here is the way the piece is much larger at the top than the bottom, and I think that sort of relates to that ball of the dome. And I wanted the mass of the piece to be up there in a way, but I wanted it very much to touch. And it just touches. It's like a tiny touch, you know, just touching the ground. Well, I mean, it's very much about that, because I think sculpture is that. Sculpture is all about that connection to the human being. That's by definition what we're doing. And I think by using these lights, these fluorescent lights, which are part of everyone's life, I suppose. There's a connection because of a kind of knowledge of these things, but there's also kind of a connection in terms of the fact that we sense the way that this starts here and travels, and we kind of understand that distance and that motion very clearly, which is different than architecture, which is trying to do something else. You know, the columns, the frescoes are about drawing a very different kind of scale. I think this scale is weirdly is a kind of human scale. That's the scale I work in. I mean, even though that seems counterintuitive because it's so big, it's all about this kind of human scale, I think.